Good evening, ghosts and ghouls. It's the one, the only JT Ripper, and I'm here with the one that made Ron Simmons go, damn!
God of Thunder.
And you're listening to a horrible podcast. Today, we're going to be reviewing The Mean One.
Mean One.
But you better not say the Grinch.
Mr. Bitch.
Mr. Bitch. So, a little info on this. The Mean One is pretty much a horror parody of the 1957 children's book, The Mean One, the one and only Mr. Grinch.
By Dr. Seuss.
Or Dr. Zeus, as he goes by in the movie. So it is, it came out today, actually.
Yep. It was a very limited release. We had to go to another city to see this film. It's not a nationwide release. It's one of those limited editions in theaters.
For a short time only.
And, you know, with many films like this, it's not what you would call a Hollywood blockbuster film. It's not...
Not by no means.
What you would call a mainstream film. It's very low budget, B-rated.
Yeah,
some people would call it
slasher.
But we're here to give you our review on it, since it's pretty much fresh in our minds. I mean, we just got through seeing it about 2-3 hours ago. So
yeah, it's a pretty fun, you know, slasher Christmas flick. I mean, it takes a little twist of what did they call it? Not Whoville, but
Newville.
Newville. They called it Newville. I guess they were trying to avoid copyrights in this movie at all costs.
Yeah, they didn't refer to the main character is Sydney, but it's not.
You know who?
Yeah, Sydney. You know who? It's not Sydney who. Hold on, Sydney. Sydney. Why do I have a hard time saying that? Sydney.
Yeah. Anywho. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha. Thank you. I'll be here all week. And they don't call him the Grinch. They actually have a little joke spot where, you know, he's the mean one and he goes to say the Grinch and he's like, Finch, where's Finch at?
Yeah, they substitute the words in there and they use it as, you know, comedy sketches to make up a different word. But overall, this movie was indeed fun. As everybody knows, I based off of my reviews on how much fun and how much entertainment I got out of a movie. I'll be the first one to admit to you when it comes to like low-budget horror films, I tend to overlook flaws quite a bit. And this one was no exception. I support these types of films. I want these types of films to come to theaters because, you know, I just support the genre. And I forgive flaws in B-rated movies because, quite frankly, they don't have the budget that the big Hollywood studios have.
Yeah, you can't compare this to fucking Halloween because it's not fair. I mean, you can't compare this to like your Hollywood blockbuster horror movies because it's apples and oranges.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where it's like, you know, if you take a well-known franchise like Halloween and you release it to theaters, of course it's going to theaters. It's a Halloween film.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's released by Blumhouse, which is a big major player now. You know, it's going to be held to a higher standard than something like this, which is probably, you know, for the lack of better words, kind of crowd-funded without being crowd-funded, if you know what I mean. It's like...
It has, you're saying that it has like that low budget, you know.
It's a low budget.
What you work with what you got.
Yeah, and
they did pretty good because I mean the Grinch makeup looked really damn good in this movie.
Yeah, he looked phenomenal.
It felt like the Grinch. I mean, David Howard Thornton, who you may also know playing Art the Clown,
Yes.
is playing the mean one in this, and he did a fantastic job. Once again, a silence role. It was some grunts and screams from him, but
he's definitely the Charlie Chaplin of this generation, or the Lon Chaney.
Yeah, he doesn't really have to say anything to like get his point across, or to make you laugh, or to make you like go ooh.
In the era of the black and white films where there were no sounds, it was just kind of like a orchestra behind the thing. He's pretty much a throwback. He uses the facial.
Charlie Chaplin is a really good comparison.
Yeah, I was thinking him or Lon Chaney as the Phantom of the Opera. Uses expressions, uses his body, uses little mannerisms to get the point across, and he's pretty terrific at that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an all-star cast. I mean, it's a B-rated cast, but I think they did their part. It wasn't, at no point I was watching this movie going, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. Everybody was pretty on point for a B-rated movie. I mean, it wasn't like sci-fi unbearable, like, it was like one or two moments where I'm like, oh my God, that's cheesy as hell. But, it was still fun. It was still a funny moment.
Yeah, it's one of those things that if you would go to like the Red Box or something and you would rent this movie, you could take it home and have fun with it.
Right.
You wouldn't be like disappointed. I mean, some people might, because they hold every single film at a certain level. It has to be at a certain level, but you got to know what you're getting into. And I knew, and of course you knew, exactly what type of movie we were going to see. We was not going to see fucking, the new, updated Saw film,
Yeah.
We're not going to see.
We're not going to see the next, Silence of the Lambs, or
this wasn't fucking Dr. Sleep Part 2.
Yeah, I mean, they did a good job with what they had. They made it very entertaining from beginning to end. I thought the runtime was pretty on par.
Yeah,
it wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. To give you a little rundown of the plot of the movie, it's Cindy, who, one night on Christmas, she comes out, and she actually called him Santa Claus. I noticed that in one part of the movie. I guess because they couldn't, of course, call him the Grinch.
Well, the whole idea of the Grinch is not encaved in their psyche.
Yeah.
Like, they don't know what a Grinch is. They don't know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and then she comes downstairs, and then Cindy sees the Grinch, and then her mom comes out, and then she starts attacking the Grinch, and then the Grinch, pushes her, and she, falls on this nail, and it kills her, and Cindy calls him a monster, and he freaks out, and then this starts the terror of the mean one.
Right, and you pretty much fast forward 20 years, her and her father comes back to Newville
to try to get over her mother. Finally. Put that the past to rest.
Yeah, she's been psychologically messed up since all this happened. She in and out of hospitals, and the doctor recommended her going back and trying to heal old wounds. And they come back to the town, and it's pretty much established right off the bat. They get pulled over by this deputy, and the deputy tells them, they have these reindeer antlers on their car.
The Rudolph nose on the front of the car.
Yeah,
to make it look festive, and
basically
it's illegal in the town.
Yeah, basically what you see really corny white people doing on a daily basis during Christmas time. And he states that we don't have this shit here anymore. In this town anymore.
We don't celebrate Christmas.
And, that's a big plot of the story as it goes on. But
and the funny thing is he's a Jew.
Yeah, he's a Jew. And the only reason we bring that up is because they bring it up every chance they get in the film.
Just a Jew.
Yeah.
A lonely Jew. I'll make more references for you.
Yeah, it's a running joke. They don't beat you over here. It's not a woke movie by any means, but it's kind of like one of those running joke things where, this is a Christmas film and you just happen to have a Jewish character in it. So, it's kind of a comedic thing. But basically, long story short, any Christmas-related item, whether it be singing, whether it be lights, whether it be anything,
any decoration,
attracts the Grinch. The Grinch.
Yeah, it's like, throwing chum in the water and sharks coming.
Right, and, when that happens, the mean one comes and punishes you by brutally killing you.
And eating.
Yeah, and he eats and bites, and, he's very much a beast. Like, when he's a bad guy, they make him as bad as they possibly can. So.
Yeah. And, they've done a pretty good job. A lot of pretty cool kills that they took liberties with making the kills interesting and very holiday festive, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Some of the negative things, we talked about this a little bit already, is they use CGI blood a lot in this movie.
Yeah. A lot of low-budget films do this because it cuts. It basically cuts costs.
It's cost-effective, and I understand that. I'm pretty sure that they couldn't sit there and ruin the Grinch costume over and over again and redo it over and over again because they just didn't have the budget for it. That's what I'm guessing, and I understand that, but I would have liked a little less CGI blood. I just don't like the way it looks. I think it just looks so fucking cheesy and just it takes me out of it personally. This is just my personal take on it.
Yeah, again, like I said at the beginning, I'm quick to forgive flaws like that.
Right.
I told you in the car that if this was a big Hollywood studio, I would be shitting all over this.
Right.
But since it's a low budget and I understand how that works, it didn't quite bother me as much.
Yeah, but to your horror aficionado, they were gonna watch this movie and shit all over it.
Well, maybe. I mean, they are used to,
or maybe they won't notice it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think they'll notice it because mainstream moviegoers, especially fans of Marvel and stuff like that, they're so programmed to watch a movie a certain way that they can't really pick out the flaws when they first see it.
Yeah, I guess I can agree with that.
They really can't.
Right.
They'll sit there and as long, and I'm just using Marvel as an example because it's always the same formula with these movies.
Right.
And horror movies is, kind of no different.
Yeah, it's very cookie cutter, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's all in how you deliver it and stuff like that and the theme of it. But I'm using the Marvel for example.
It's the same formula.
Yeah, you go there.
You try to change up the presentation.
You go there, you might get a backstory, you might, see how somebody becomes something, and then some action goes and they get their ass kicked, and then they come back at the end and be the hero. And as long as the action is fast and furious, people tend to look over the flaws, and somebody like me who, I like superhero movies more than the next person does, just anybody else. But, I can sit down and look at it objectively because my, my heart is not fully into it.
Right.
I like this, but I'm not this is not oh my God.
Yeah.
Now with horror movies, I'm different. Horror movies hold a special place in my heart, so I will openly admit that these types of flaws, like the CGI and stuff like that, I do notice. Don't get me wrong, but I just, as long as it's entertaining and as long as I'm having fun, I don't care.
Right. I agree with all that too. But it's a fun movie. I suggest if you haven't seen it, you go see it. I don't really want to get into the ending of the movie
Yeah, we don't really want to do
a spoiler.
spoilers. We're just, giving you a little information about the film, giving our, recommendation.
Our take on it. I would say, I would put this in my collection. I think it's a buy.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth a rewatch.
Yeah, it's worth a rewatch. It has a lot of like funny parts to it.
It's definitely heavy in the comedy.
Yeah, I mean it's low budget.
Even the ending.
It's low budget, and it's not like you're not going to get a brutal movie. Like we mentioned Terrifier, Art the Clown. This is not that type of movie.
No.
This is a very straightforward. It's not on that level. But with Terrifier 2 coming out, a lot of films, Hollywood or low budget, has a lot of shit to live up to.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not the practical effects are still good in it though, like because they do use practical effects in it, and they are good.
Yeah, it's another word that I would describe this movie is simple.
Yeah, it's
they don't overcomplicate shit.
Yeah, if you're looking for like a thinker, you're looking in the wrong place.
Yeah,
this is a very what you see is what you get type of movie. It's a lot of pros about this because it was funny. Like I laughed out loud several times, and they caught me with like one or two jump scares. I just wasn't expecting it. They actually got me. You brought up the lighting.
Yeah, if I had one criticism, as I told you, the lighting in the film was very noticeable in some parts. Like, here it is, the middle of the day, and, I personally, if I was, doing this film, I personally would have made it to where, any daytime scenes, looked a lot different than nighttime scenes. And what I mean by that is when it was daytime scenes, it wasn't that bright.
Right. It kind of felt like midday.
Right. And you can chalk
Dusk.
that up to, this is winter time. Maybe it's not, that. But I think, and this is a horrible comparison, but if you take The Grinch from Jim Carrey movie, like when they're walking around the town, it's very lit up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's very
you
can see shit clear.
You can see details.
Right. When he goes into the cave, it's a little bit more dark, a little bit more greenish, a little bit, that. And I felt like, they could have used a little bit more light during the daytime to set up when night comes.
Right.
I
kind of felt like when it was dark, at some points it got like AVP dark. Like it was kind of hard to like tell. Like you lost the details of the Grinch, like prosthetics and stuff like that.
Well, I think that was because
that might have been on purpose.
That was on purpose because that was at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
And all that was to give you a glimpse slowly at the reveal. And then when they finally do reveal him, they reveal him to where you can see him clear as day.
Yeah, but it was still some dark points towards the end of the movie.
Well, it was still some dark points.
That's just like the two minor criticisms we have for this movie, honestly.
Yeah.
Everything else,
mini.
It's very limited on the criticisms. I mean, your non-average moviegoer or horror watcher would probably destroy this movie.
Yeah,
honestly. But.
Yeah, and even the hardcore horror fans, they'll probably shit on this movie. But we have a different criteria of how we rate and how we view films, and we can't stress it enough. If a film is entertaining to us, and the word fun keeps coming up, we're not going to shit on it too much. I mean, we're definitely tell you the negatives to it, but it's not going to be shit on too much.
Yeah. the best way I could describe this is
Awesome!
it's an awesome movie.
Yeah, it's an awesome B-rated, low-budget film, and we're gonna rate the film, and I guess I'll start with it.
And we do our ratings from 1 to 10.
Yeah, 1 to 10. I'm comfortable with giving this film a 6 out of 10.
I've had some time to think about it. At first, I went where you were at. Then I dropped down to 4, and then I got to thinking about it. And I think it's a little bit better than average, so I give it a 5.5.
That's fair.
That's fair. What I think they agree with us. Thank you.
We have the Friends soundboard.
Yeah, we have a new soundboard, so we're playing with it. You know, we might have a cameo from Little John here and there. Thank you.
Yeah, man. But overall experience, I enjoyed it. I don't regret going to see it.
Go see it. Support your local horror.
Yeah, support it.
Your indie horror movies.
If anything, when you find it coming on a streaming service,
give it a watch.
Give it a watch.
Yeah, Take your time. Take a little bit of time out of your day. Get the fuck off of TikTok, and watch the Mean One. And enjoy it for what it is. Don't expect nothing spectacular. Just enjoy a good horror comedy, cheesy slasher.
Cheesy, which is not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing at all. But on that note, I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm JT Ripper.
And I'm Todd of Thunder. Saying toodaloo.
And you're a mean one, you stinking bitch.